Hi, hello, and welcome to the Handicapable Black Nerd channel. I, yeah, I used to have a saying, but this is my take two. I might go back and use it, but I'm gonna get the vibe and figure out what is this space, because it's gonna be a lot about the business I'm working on, and that's gonna be kind of the main subject that I talk about today. But I'm going to be doing book readings and book reviews and digging into the culture, the government, politics, and the point of views of the different characters of the books, and even doing some experimenting with some of the items within the books. And let's see, well, talking about anime, Disney, and taking it to the university. I did a little bit of that on my other channel, the other channel where I hired a few Fiverr people. I will to promote and market for me, and then they just loaded it with bots, and so that ruined the whole, like, yeah, yeah. Let's just say it turned it into an absolute nightmare. So it's basically my private journal. But I have ways to open up that private journal. And yes, it's never going to reach, the high numbers. But I love that as a black woman with a disability, I am able to reflect, dive in, say my point of view, and just just vent, just release it. Because when I see the current events and when I see just the racism and the bigotry, the ableist, and the people against feminism, but they don't understand feminism, and like everything that includes, especially my identity. But oh yeah, my LGBTQ. Oh, I love you guys. Kiss, kiss. Yeah, I'm an ally. So, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, with my page, I stand on my politics. So, while I build my business, my demographic are going to know I'm with my demographic. I am a Democrat progressive, hands down. It's like I'm kind of a mixture with a little liberal and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like when, okay, for example, because I'm gonna talk about this on my other channel even more, because they just caught the head of Congress or whatever with a leaked phone call talking about how they're going to eliminate Medicare and Medicaid and stuff like that. I want Medicare for all. I still need to cover this on the other channel, but we just had a firefighter a couple weeks ago pass away from lung cancer. And because he was supposed to he should have gotten other medications to help, but the health insurance denied him. And I think we need, at least for until we have Medicare for all, we need special Medicare, special assistance for people who have served either Army, Navy, like, and everything, all of those services, but fighter too. And even though, yeah, listen to my police stories, even though I face racism and I've been fondled and, like, yeah, a lot of horrible things with police officers, even them. But even though we keep catching them, like, being racist, yeah, if you didn't hear about that one story recently where this police officer is getting a divorce with his ex-wife. Oh, she was so petty. Oh, my favorite flavor to start the morning is petty tea. This woman was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you judge, you might want to look at these," and she laid out so much racism. And then two other police officers, oh, they were so racist. And it's just, our country, our police was started by slave catchers. They don't want to teach that. They don't want to dive into the culture of our police and how till this day, like whenever a police officer sees a black person, they try to pull them over. That's been in so many studies. And around like 2021, I believe they did a study, but they had to cancel the study because they kept catching the police officers being racist. But they didn't want to post that story, so they ended it. Yeah, over 90% of the people they pulled over were black. And like the reason why it's a lower percentage is because some of the times they thought they were black and they were Hispanic. Yeah, oops. Oops. so so yeah, that's the kind of stuff I talk about on my other channel. And oh, also like the Natasha doll. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna get nerdy. We're gonna talk business. I'm so excited. And I did have recordings for this already, but I had to erase them because my plans totally changed. It's like I now have an ex-boyfriend, someone who promised to make my website. He made a lot of promises. And now I just know he was a no good, deceiving liar and a manipulator. Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to be writing this, building my business alone. And I've been doing that. Well, okay, I'm going to give you the intro. It's probably going to be a two-parter, sorry. And some of my episodes are going to be a lot shorter because I'm going to have episodes where I tell you my goals and what I'm going to be working on, why, and maybe what resources and things that I'm going to be using for stuff. And some might be like exactly what I'm working on and the research and why I'm tying, because especially like one of the projects I do is I write children's books and novels, and I am well self-published. And I will tell you that story too, because some people might be like, oh, you must not be talented enough if you're only self-published. No, no, that's not the reason why. That's not the reason why. But okay, so I'm gonna spill all of my tea. It's not petty tea, but all my tea because, for one, education is fundamental and amazing, and I think we need free college too. So yeah, yeah, I'm a progressive. Yeah, yeah, if you can't tell. And so like my a lot of my demographic are probably gonna yeah, they're no, they're not probably, they're gonna be on the left side of politics. Yeah, and if you're not, like, you probably won't like some of my products. I'm woke. I am. And I'm the proud woke. I'm the Erica Badu, stand on my ground, and I'm an ally, and I love, and I have compassion and forgiveness and things like that. So, yeah, if you're not about that, you're not going to be part of my like, but I hope you find, yeah, anyway. I like to stand on that ground because after, especially what happened with Harry Potter and the author, and it's like after she became a billionaire, she's like, now I can tell you what I think. Now I can break some hearts and make people feel lower than human. Like that's in my opinion, though. That's in my opinion. That's just my yeah. All I speak are my opinions and facts, and that part is an opinion. Yeah, but so I know I don't want to go out like that. And that's one reason why I am going to make sure you know about my other channel. I'm going to make sure you can listen to my other channel because I am on the left of politics very much. And this month is Pride Month. I'm an ally. I love and adore. It's like some my literally like majority, like a lot of my best friends are, yeah, and they are some of the best people I ever met in my life. Before I got diagnosed and everything going on, they were the ones that had my back. Like before my surgery, they are the ones that called me and they told me, you got this, you're okay, you're strong, you're like, yeah, because I was terrified. So, but okay, these are some of the things. Yeah, it's going to be a two-parter, sorry. But you know what? I'm not sorry. It's like I'm me, and this is my normal. And my channels, well, now I can say it plural. My channels are as messy as my life. But yeah, I'm gonna be republishing, self publishing my children's books because I I wasn't going to start publishing just at like when I did, but I had to because I wasn't diagnosed yet, and I had a couple doctors who said it might be cancer. Yeah. And then one of the doctors was like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that out loud." And I have quite a few family members that they were diagnosed and it hit hard and quick. And I was just like, if I'm going to pass away from this earth, I'm going to be an author. And also, I was already going to be a self published because, again, education is fundamental. I have my bachelor's in English. I have a double minor, business and business applied anthropology, but I really focus on business and cultural anthropology. And then I got my first master's teaching and training with technology. And then I got my second master's, my MBA in internet marketing. So with my lessons from business and everything, I and like I feel like a lot of career counselors picked on me and put me down. They were quite mean, but now with everything I'm working on, I'm just like this path was written for me or drawn out for me for a reason. It's crazy that I'm now using everything that I've like a lot of the classes that I've taken, I'm using now. Like to create like especially with the children's books, my majority of my main characters have a disability and I have LGBTQ. I have large diversity of characters. And especially with one of my novels, but actually I'm going to have this with children's books too. But I'm going to have characters with a hijab, but then there's other types. I'm not like I want to make sure I don't say them wrong, so I'm just going to, but I want to make sure when my artist draw or my illustrator, she's an artist, but when my illustrator draws them, that I want to make sure they look right and they're the right type and everything. And so, like, when I create my art board, I want to make sure that it's authentic and good and that it's not mocking or stereotyping or anything like that. But then cultural, yeah, let's just say, yeah, if you heard some background noise, I'm sorry. Yeah, anyway, just I want to make sure that, like, a lot of people don't understand how when you say having a black mermaid is woke, having black Tinkerbell, like, whenever it's a non white person representing a character, even now, like, the most beautiful woman in the world, yeah, you know what movie I'm talking about? And it's gonna be a beautiful black woman. They're like, people are laughing and being racist and ignorant. See, yeah, they won't like my books. They will hate my books. They will probably just try to downgrade and put low stuff and I mean, some of them might just genuinely not like it. It's like I'm not trying to be perfect at all. I'm just going to try to be genuinely me. And so I'm also going to be working on my novels. I've been working on this one, but actually, it's not just one now. I started the first draft in 2019, right before I had to have, right before I couldn't walk anymore. Yeah, almost literally right before I couldn't walk anymore. I was in so much pain. I would write, I wrote the rough draft while like laying on my other ex-boyfriend's bed, and I was just click 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 click, right, like looking up stuff and just clicking and typing. And like my ex, he loved video games. Sometimes, like, I guess I was just typing and going into such a fury or whatever, not furry anyway. um he would just stop and look. Like, I would just hear, like, I would feel the silence, and I would look up, and he's just looking at me, and he's just like, you've been at it straight for like 20 minutes nonstop. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And he was just like, I've never seen, like, he was like, that was kind of wow. And so then he went back to his video game or whatever. But it's like, I love my rough draft still. But after my surgery, and then after I got diagnosed, and it was found that all of those years I was telling the truth, when everyone was calling me a liar, making stuff up, and the pain was in my head, it was finally out there. So, with the rough draft, with some of the feelings and some of the things that was going on with my character, now things changed. So many things, and I knew it could be better because I feel like I was scared. Like, I partially knew my truth, but since everyone called me a liar, I was too scared. And so I started digging into it a little bit more. And I started, again, I was like, okay, let's go back to chapter one. And then I was like, oh, what about this? And oh, yeah, I'm going to add more. And I started adding more 3D to her. And I started adding more heart to her. And being a part time professor, I sometimes with some of my classes, I would let them read the rough drafts and stuff. And the last group that I let read it, they it's like they kind of convinced me. You don't have one book here, professor. You have three. Cause and one of them was just like, yeah, cause I want to know more about. And I was like, you do? That's not gonna be boring. That's not gonna be too. No, no, no. I want to know more. And it's like, and I don't know. It was just amazing because, like, because they didn't say three, or that they would just say they kind of wanted a part two, but then they would tell me what they wanted to know more of, and how they were learning more about disability representation and the need to know about that. And it was just amazing. And so that's another reason why, yeah, it's like, but then I got scared again because with my previous ex-boyfriend, that, or the video game that, yeah, if you've been listening to the other channel, you already know I'm talking about Mr. No Heart. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But because I remember when I finished the first rough draft, his oldest daughter read part of it, and she was just like, this is so awesome. And I had college, like, something like the college students, like, especially the first group I had, no, the second group I had read it. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious because one of my male students, like, I had one, like, person read it from each, because I did it differently each time depending on the class, because there's some classes where I'm like, I don't trust them. I don't trust them. Nope. But one of them, he was like, Professor, I know you're kind of strict. Like, can I read chapter five? Well, it's like, it's a different chapter now, but can I read chapter five to my wife? And I'm just like, oh, okay. Is something wrong? Or it's like, no, 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 it's my favorite chapter, and she has to read chapter five. And I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. And I just remember the next, like, a couple of days later, like, it was so funny. He had to keep it G rated, or yeah, PG G rated, what, somewhere in there. But he called me the next morning saying like his wife loved it so much, and they like, yeah, let's just say they do what married people do. And I'm like, okay, like I'm your professor. I don't think you're supposed to tell, like, but I'm like, but he said it in a respectful way. He said it in a respectful way, and he said that now his wife is so excited about reading my book. But it was just, yeah, like they like the jokes and the roller coaster and things. And it's like, because he was just like, I don't know, it was just really interesting. I don't know, it's like, but at the same time, it was a compliment. It was a huge compliment. So, and but yeah, the last group, they were the ones that kind of let me know, yeah, we want to know more about these certain parts. And it's funny because in my notes I had more, but I had a lot more about some of them, but I'm like, oh, they don't want to know about that. They don't need to know about that. But now I'm like, oh, they do. They really, really do. So, but okay, so yeah. And I have like four or five other novels. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now the first series that I've been working on, it's gonna be an on and on series. So yeah, yeah. And even with the second main one that I'm working on, one reason why I haven't really dove into that one more is because of the setting. So, one of my goals is going to be to research settings, because location, location, location. It's like location kind of interferes with the possibilities of a character, the development of a character, what they're going to see, who they're going to get to know, where the plot's going to go. And so I want to make sure that when I pick one, because I had one, I had one. And yes, New York is very popular, but with this character, it fit. But then, mm, when you're being driven home from work to and you're just having small talk, and your driver talks about how his youngest daughter loves writing stories. So then we're talking, and I bring up my idea, and he was like, oh, there's there's a movie where, yeah, I think it's in New York too. And so then I get online, I look it up, and I'm like, oh, dang it. But I'm so glad I talked to him. Things happen for a reason. So, and I had two other locations, but I want to make sure they fit my character. So, and I mean, it has to fit the character, the plot, the purpose, and the reason. So, those are my thoughts. Yeah. But okay, there's more, because I have activity books, coloring books, and things, because I really, and okay, with those books, like, because with my children's books and novels, I do not use AI. Well, okay. When I do research on about weapons and different things, and also, I mean, there's certain things where I'm like, I use articles, I've used books and things like that, but sometimes when, like, if I have a certain character using something, I want to know, is it going to go all the way through? What's the effects? What's the shape going to look like, and stuff like that, because I want it to be at least close to realistic, even though it's fiction, even though it's urban fantasy. Most of my books are going to be like, most of my novels are going to be urban fantasy, and most of my children's books are going to be fantasy as well. So, but with my activity books, a lot of them I'm going to be using AI, because with the children's books, and then I'm going to have mazes and word searches and like just different type of things going on, and a lot of like some disability representation as well, because I feel like I need to put that out there. I know Candace Owens wouldn't like me because, yeah, if you know, you know, especially when there was a woman in a wheelchair modeling clothes. Yeah, let's just say she had some comments a few years ago on that. So, and that's why I'm fighting back with it. I'm making sure we have a voice. As a black person, I I get told what to like. People try to tell me, you don't want a black character. We're not going to read that. We're not going to connect to that. That no. But then at the same time, when the Little Mermaid comes out with a black person, you guys need to write your own original stuff. You guys need to have different characters. You need to like. But then when I do that, they tell me not to make them white. Mm, mm. So yeah, you're gonna hear so much on that one. Too like okay, not too much because yeah, you guys need to hear so much on that one, extremely amount. But I'm also gonna be working on my greeting cards, and I'm gonna be having all different arrays, like even some greeting cards where you're just like, oh, I didn't know we congratulate this. It's just like I mean something we're gonna be just for fun or just out of the blue and or someone might just need a laugh or need just something. Mental health is so it's I trust me, I know. And I will be talking a lot about that, especially while I create. Like, I'm going to be talking about and showing how I'm going to be looking up the types of paper and my messages and the artistry. And also, I'm going to be doing the paperwork and stuff. So, registering my business. And so, yeah, it's going to be a part two because I'm going to be talking about like grant, like looking up grants and stuff. But one thing you're going to hear so much about over the next couple months are my candles. Yes, I'm creating a whole candle line and I'm going to be working on well the website for everything, but especially that because I'm trying to create a seven stream income because having a disability and listen to my other channel because I talk about how hard it is to find work because when I go to job interviews, they ask illegal questions. Remember, like I have a minor and an MBA in business. I've taken the HR classes and things. And so when a lot of these people ask me, is that permanent? Are you going to get that fixed? Are you going to have surgery? What do you have? It's like, did something happen to you? Did your husband beat you? Oh, yeah, I've had like, and I'm not even married, but I've had people, yeah, yeah. Quite, and actually, yeah, I've had that question asked to me a few times, which is kind of disturbing. Kind of disturbing, yeah. But yeah, so you're gonna hear a lot about my seven streams and how I'm creating everything because having a disability, trying to apply for work, but most companies don't want me. And then I want my own business, but then it's like the hurdles and everything, especially the days I'm in pain. And then it's like, but I need physical therapy and all this other stuff and blah, 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 blah. So you're going to hear about how it is to start a business from a black woman with a disability. And you're going to hear, like, especially a lot of the entrepreneurs are men and or white. So, yeah, you're going to hear, like, some people are like, oh, that doesn't matter. See, you saying that is like, you need to do your study. Like, yeah, do the research. Listen, like, I have talked about all of that on my other channel, Handicapable Black Woman. It's like, what's the percentage of black women who get business loans that are offered like I mean so yeah just I'm gonna have a part two for the intro but yeah, thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Nerd channel, and I'm gonna figure out a ending piece to this, but take care. Bye.